I am popping in on here for a little TTC update. I feel like I have not really done any kind of update in a while. Obviously our fresh transfer did not work. I feel like that's probably the last thing that I've shown. I obviously just got out of the shower, so I'm just gonna get myself together a little bit here. So now we're in the process of kind of moving towards doing a frozen transfer, which is just obviously the only option after you've done your fresh transfer. There's only one fresh transfer opportunity. It doesn't seem like there's a massive gap in like success rates between a frozen and a fresh transfer. The steps are obviously a lot different. So when my cycle restarted, which was actually the exact same day that we got like the negative pregnancy test from the doctor, my period started pretty much that night. So I let my nurse know, and then I had to start taking a bunch of ovulation tests, and they start me on 2 different estrogen varieties as soon as I got a positive ovulation test, which was actually New Year's Day. January 1st, I got my positive ovulation test, which I was actually really stressing out about because I usually always get a peak ovulation like on those little strips like the 12th day of my cycle, like pretty much across the board, and I didn't get one till like the 16th day or something like that, like really a lot later. So I was actually kind of freaking out, like am I not gonna get a positive ovulation test? Because if you don't, then they bring you in and do I think some kind of ultrasound to check if you're ovulating, and then they'll give you medication to force you to ovulate basically. And I obviously, you know, want to avoid going into the doctor and having to take any unnecessary medication, and I've never had an issue ovulating on my own ever before. So I was like, what is going on? Did the medication and the stimulation and everything I've been on like affect, you know, my, not like permanently obviously, but this was like my cycle right after the transfer, so I didn't know if, you know, my hormones and my cycle was going to be like a little bit wonky at first. And I guess it technically was a little bit wonky because I definitely ovulated way later, but still ovulated, so that worked out. I was really thankful for that. So I think 8 days after you ovulate, which it's still the very beginning of January right now, the beginning of 2021, so a couple days later, I think like a week, 8 days later, something like that, after you get a positive ovulation test, you start taking estrogen orally, and I have to do that estrogen patch again, which I was doing all throughout my stimulation, or I wasn't doing that during the stimulation, I was doing that as prep for the transfer. So I'm going to be doing the estrogen patches and estrogen pills, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal. I actually just picked up that prescription yesterday, so I have all of that stuff ready to go to take whenever the 8th day comes around. I think that's later on this week, so I'm all prepped up for that. We actually also have a just like virtual appointment with our doctor today because we haven't even talked to him since the failed transfer. That it wasn't really that long ago. It seems like it was forever ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. So we have an appointment with him virtually just to talk about how the transfer didn't go and what my protocol is going to be for the frozen transfer, which the frozen transfer seems like it's not going to be quite as, I guess it seems like it's not going to be quite as involved because it's not following a stimulation. So it's kind of just isolated to just the transfer, which is kind of nice to just have to focus on the transfer and not a stimulation as well. So it sounds like really all that's going to be involved. I have to stay on this estrogen, I think, like the entire time. Like I think indefinitely, I think even possibly into pregnancy I have to stay on the estrogen. I'm not 100% sure about how long I'll be on the estrogen, but definitely for at least about a month it seems. And then the protocol, there's 2 different options for the frozen transfer. You can either take progesterone, like an intramuscular, like in your butt shot every single day in the morning, or you can take the vaginal suppositories in the morning and the evening, and then just the intramuscular shot every 3 days. So obviously that option gives you less shots. You're only doing like, you know, 2 shots a week rather than 7, but those vaginal suppositories were just super annoying to me. Like you have to take them in the morning and the night, and you have to lay down for like 15 minutes after you take it, and you can't have intercourse on them because your cervix and all kinds of stuff are really irritated, and mine was really irritated. I'm sure y'all probably remember I was like bleeding, and it was very uncomfortable feeling in there. So I did not really like the suppositories at all. And obviously you have to, well, that's not obvious, and you have to stay on the progesterone. Assuming you get pregnant, you have to stay on the progesterone, like those shots and or the suppositories and the shots, until I think like 11 weeks of pregnancy. Like you have to be on it for a long time. I mean, you know, if we have to, we weren't able to have intercourse throughout a lot of our stimulation, and after the retrieval, like it was probably, I don't know, a month and a half that we weren't able to have sex, which is, you know, whatever. I feel like if you choose the option to do the shots every 3 days and then the vaginal suppositories, your cervix is gonna be really inflamed and bothered for like months, which just sounds awful, and you can't have sex for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, which is just kind of crazy. And I just really didn't want to have to bother with those suppositories twice a day, every day. I have to have my cervix be so bothered for such a long period of time. I mean, obviously I don't like shots, and I hear the obviously progesterone shots, since they're intramuscular, like they're not fun, they're not a good time, and you have to do them every day. But I feel like doing one shot once a day in the morning versus one every 3 days plus these suppositories every morning and night, I just feel like the benefit is just a little bit higher. Even though shots suck, I just feel like I'm gonna want to do that way more. Plus I watched Leanne Says, if you don't know her, on YouTube. She actually just had a successful frozen transfer, which I'm really excited for her about, and she's just doing the shots, and she actually made a whole video talking about a lot of different like tips and tricks to make the shot a lot easier. So I bought this kind of like vibrating little thing that kind of distracts your body, that you can kind of put on your body right near the injection site, and it doesn't hurt as much. And then she was just giving some tips and tricks, like to kind of do some squats afterwards to kind of loosen the muscle up so you don't get any like lumps or kind of like any soreness, or I guess less soreness. And then she was saying sit on a heating pad, and that'll also help with the soreness. So I feel like I've gotten some good tips and tricks from her on how to kind of manage the shots. And I mean, at this point I've done so many shots, and I have done intramuscular shots, and they weren't really that big of a deal. So I feel like at this point it's just like whatever. I'll take whatever shots I need to take, especially if it's just one a day and I can kind of eliminate the suppositories and everything that comes with those. So I think that's our plan. But like I said, we have an appointment today to talk to the doctor and talk about how the transfer, you know, talk about maybe why, or his, you know, take on the failed transfer and what he suggests for the frozen transfer, which I think we can pick. But I definitely want to get his opinion whether we should definitely do just the one shot a day, or whether the vaginal suppositories, like if that would have any benefit. So we'll just kind of get his opinion and chat with him, because like I said, we have not talked to him in a long time. Honestly, it feels like it's been a while. So that's kind of where we're at. I should be starting the progesterone here soon, and then my transfer should honestly be, I think, a month from 2 days ago. So less than a month to the next transfer, and then of course it's 2 weeks after that to find out if it worked and everything. But it seems like things will definitely be expedited this time. Like, it's just not such a long road. I mean, it still is. It's like a couple months and still expensive, but at least we're kind of like on the pathway now, and obviously hoping and praying that this one works. So yeah, that is where we're at. Actually, one other thing that I wanted to say, because I have to talk about Ken about this, because this is like a little bit stressing me out, and I'm just kind of starting to think about this. But obviously when we were doing our simulation, like everybody knew about it, and like I posted on Instagram and it was on YouTube, and it was like no big deal. But I don't really want to announce that we're, you know, prepping for a transfer, just because I don't really want to ruin the surprise, like for my family or his family, or even like the general public, like social media. So I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out how I'm gonna approach that, because obviously, like I said, our transfer should be in like about a month, and then after that I kind of go back to not being able to work out and having to take it easy and blah blah blah. And as y'all know, I'm like real big into working out, and I was I was obviously bummed that our transfer didn't work, but I was just the only, you know, kind of upside of that was I could go back to working out, and I was really excited about that. And I'm deep in it, especially now that it's like a new Sydney Cummings program and it's the new year. Like, I'm really in it and I'm really enjoying it and super excited about it. But then, you know, when our transfer rolls around in like early February, I'm gonna be back to not being able to work out, and I don't know how I'm gonna approach that, like to my family and like on social media, like to the public, and like sharing, oh, like before I could just say, yeah, we're doing a simulation, I can't work out, you know, but I'll be, you know, cheering you all on from the sidelines, whatever, like in the Sydney squad and that kind of stuff. But I don't really want people knowing that we're doing a transfer, so I'm not sure how to like hide the fact that I'm not working out anymore. And I feel like I need to kind of address it. I can't just like fall off, I feel like, and I don't know how to address it, because I don't know how to say it without giving anything away, if that makes sense. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm sure not like the whole world would fall apart if I stopped posting my workout. I totally get that. It's not that serious, but at the same time, I really enjoy like posting that content, and it's gonna be weird for me to stop. And I feel like I need to at least kind of address it or get ahead of it. So anyway, that's kind of like the next thing I'm thinking about. I don't really know what the story is gonna be, so I need to go talk to Ken about that and see, or maybe we will just tell people. I have no idea. I really don't know. Long time no TTC update, at least not in the video, but it's just after 6 in the morning, and we are heading to like an ultrasound. We're doing a lining check for our frozen transfer. Our frozen transfer should be, if all goes according to plan, a week from tomorrow, which is really exciting. So I've been on estrogen since, I believe, 8th of February. So it's been like 3-ish weeks since I've been on estrogen, which is an oral pill and then also that patch that I was also on last time. But it's a little bit weird because I really feel like I'm ovulating. Like I have a lot of like cervical mucus and a lot of that stuff that I typically have around the time that I'm ovulating. And then I also took a couple ovulation tests, and they weren't like high like as they would be if I was 100% ovulating, but they were like higher than I think would be like normal when you're not supposed to be ovulating, because apparently starting the estrogen like 3 weeks ago before my cycle started is supposed to keep me from ovulating, which is kind of weird because like I took like the shots to keep me from ovulating last time and like suppress my ovaries. So I feel like it's weird that like we did shots to keep me from ovulating last time, but this time all we need to do is take oral and just transdermal estrogen. So I don't exactly know how that works, but I just feel like I have like ovulation symptoms. I feel like I started taking the ovulation test like one day too late, and it was a little bit high. And I watched Leanne Says and all of her like TTC vlogs and her IVF vlog, and she kind of had the same thing before her frozen transfer. She took ovulation tests and it was like pretty high. So they sent her on like this kind of wild goose chase to get like this emergency shot to suppress her ovaries and keep her from ovulating and all that stuff. So I think I got it in my head that like this could happen or this is likely to happen, and I got really worried about it. So I don't know if I actually am ovulating, because like I said, the LH wasn't like super high like it usually is, like 1.6 or something. It was like 0.6 and 0.5, so it was higher-ish, but not like a peak ovulation by any means. So I don't know if either I missed it or it didn't happen, or maybe it just got a little bit elevated but like didn't fully happen. So I emailed my nurse about it, and she's like, it's not super uncommon to get like the cervical mucus and like some of the ovulation symptoms and not actually ovulate. She's like, it's kind of uncommon for the estrogen to not keep you from ovulating. So I think I might just be in my head about it, but I have an ultrasound, which we had this ultrasound appointment scheduled regardless of me having this like freak out moment. So this is not like a new thing based on that. This was already happening. So we're going for the ultrasound appointment 7:15 this morning to check my lining and to make sure that I haven't ovulated. I guess they can tell by the size of the follicles, and if there's any like fluid around the ovaries, they'll be able to tell if I have ovulated or not, or if I'm about to, I guess. If anything like that, if it's kind of questionable, then they'll do some blood work to check my progesterone levels. So obviously hoping I like to avoid blood work and needles as much as I can, considering how often I have to get that done. So I'm hoping that the ultrasound will show everything looks good, everything looks normal. Even though like in Leanne's situation, she called them and said, listen, I'm ovulating. They're like, but your ultrasound doesn't give any indication of it. She's like, but I am. So also sometimes listening to other stories can kind of like help and hurt, I feel like. So I'm hoping that the ultrasound is enough to obviously give everybody peace of mind, including myself, that I haven't ovulated, but they can do blood work if they have to. The only problem is obviously if I did for some reason ovulate, then we can't do the transfer, which is kind of obviously a big deal and a bummer. I mean, it would just mean that you have to wait for another cycle, which is not the end of the world, but at the same time, it's like, we don't wanna keep waiting anymore. We wanna like get this going. That's the plan, just a simple ultrasound. Hopefully it's no big deal and everything goes according to plan. If it does, I believe I would start my progesterone and oil shots, the ones kind of like in your butt, on Friday. I think Friday or Saturday, and today is Tuesday. So we would start those at the end of this week and then have my transfer 1 week from tomorrow. That would be crazy and so exciting, and that's obviously what we're hoping for. But I definitely did not miss these super early appointments. So anyway, I will check in with y'all when we get back, because I have a small purse now and I can't really bring my camera as easily as I once could. So I will provide an update on how everything went when we get back. We just made it back from our appointment. It's like 8:15 and everything went really well. The tech and my nurse both said my uterine lining looked beautiful, which I love when they like say funny stuff like that. My follicles looked fine. There wasn't any that were like super big. There wasn't any fluid or anything like that. So they said we are all good to go. I had the nurse kind of like demonstrate on me where we need to do the shots, because we're starting the shots, like I said, I was correct, we're starting them on a Friday, so today's Tuesday, so in a couple of days. So we kind of like went over where to do it, how to find it, some like tips and tricks to like make it hurt less, make it get less sore, and kind of just like make it go like as smoothly and as comfortably as possible. So we went went over that. Ken has like a little bit of like researching to do, I feel like, to watch some of these videos on some of the tricks that she gave us. So I'll probably share all of that, you know, in whenever we start this stuff, some of the tips and tricks that we obviously don't know how they work, but that we've learned and had like suggested to us and stuff like that. So I'll probably include that when we start that. I'm just staying on my estrogen like normal, and then our transfer will be 1 week from tomorrow, which is so exciting. And then the pregnancy test, like blood test, is 9 days from that. So I think it's the 12th, like Friday the 12th, something like that. Yeah, today's the 26th, which means we will know in like 3 weeks if we're pregnant or not, which is so crazy. So I'm very excited, oddly so excited to do these shots, just because I just feel like they're really effective and that they're just gonna work, and that it means like we're getting to do a transfer soon. So that is the update. We are so excited. All right, we're on day like 5 or whatever. I think it's 5, yeah. Ken's got the goods going on. I'm about to take my last Z-Pack. It's going down. All right, we just finished that shot, and I don't know if I mentioned this in a different like clip, but the really clutch thing to do has been to heat up this warming pack afterwards and then literally just like stuff it in my leggings, and it stays right on the spot and I don't have to like put my hand on it. I can walk around, I can sit, I can stand, hands-free. This is a great trick. So it's kind of funny that I wanted to do a little update today because I was gonna say everything's been going so well for the most part, like not really a big deal. And then of course today, the injection spot like bled like crazy. I mean, not like crazy, but it bled more than it ever has before. But yeah, today was the 5th day and it's been going really well. Like Ken is not struggling at all with like getting the, you know, vial filled up, or he's like not really having a hard time with any of that. So he's gotten really accustomed to it. And same for me. The only thing that's very uncomfortable is it does really hurt. Like it leaves you very sore in the injection site. We've been like massaging it, we've been icing it before, we've been putting the heat pack on. Well, by we I mean I. But yeah, it definitely hurts like at the injection site. I haven't gotten any lumps or anything, and obviously we're coming up on a week, but it just hurts. Like touching it, it's very sore to the touch. Even like sleeping on my side kind of hurts. So that's really the only like negative part of it. The actual shot itself doesn't hurt like going in. I don't know if it's the little buzzy bee or if it's just because it's not that big of a needle. I also typically work out before my shot, which I think is definitely a good tip because the muscle is like nice and warm. So I think it's like easier to accept like the needle and the medicine. Or sometimes I work out after, and I think that also helps warm the muscle up. So I think having some level of like activity, whether it's just like walking or working out or whatever you do, I think that's good for the muscle to just not be so like stiff. But of course tomorrow is our transfer, which I'm so excited about, of course, and I can't work out anymore starting tomorrow. So I'm really sad to be taking a break from working out and Sydney for a couple of weeks, but of course it's for a good cause, and I will, y'all know, do anything to make this work. So even if that means not working out, that's okay, but it's gonna be weird not working out, of course. I'm very excited, and I'm glad that the shots are just like not that big of a deal. I'm really thankful, and I'm honestly like not stressed out. They don't like freak me out. I don't get any of my like shot anxiety anymore. Like that ship has so sailed. So yeah, the shots are not a big deal, other than they're just uncomfortable after the fact. Of course, I will be vlogging tomorrow for our transfer. Oh my gosh, it is frozen embryo transfer day. I'm so stinking excited, even though this isn't our first transfer. I feel like it's still just very exciting, and I'm extremely hopeful and extremely optimistic and really excited. I didn't sleep very well. I feel like I was having a lot of dreams. Like, I don't know if they were necessarily good dreams, but I just feel like I was kind of like a kid before Christmas, you know, like you're just so excited. You're just anticipating, you know, the next day so much, like before your first day of school, like things like that. I feel like it was that kind of thing where I'm just so excited, and obviously just like a lot of thoughts are going on, and I feel like you're just like a little bit anxious and a little bit stressed, but also really excited, like kind of nervous excitement, I feel like is what it is. So I did not sleep very well. I woke up at like 3:45, and then I was awake till like 6, just like on my phone, and then I fell back asleep at like 6. I texted Ken, he was still sleeping, and I was like, don't wake me up when you get up. I've been up for like hours, let me sleep basically until my shot. So he came up and woke me up at like 7:45, so I went back to sleep for like an hour and 45 minutes, which is basically how long I was awake for roughly. So I feel like I'm feeling tired, but I did get a decent amount of sleep after all. He came and woke me up, we did my shot, which I'm so bruised on this side we did today, like so bruised. This side not so much. They're now evened out. I think I've done 3 on each side. We're on day 6. The other side like doesn't feel as sore like 24 hours later. So they're not like, I feel like they're almost getting less sore as time goes on. Like they're not staying as sore for as long. I mean, they don't feel good, don't get me wrong, but they don't like feel quite as sore, but they still definitely are uncomfortably sore, but I'm not getting lumpy. So that's the one thing. I've been doing really good at like massaging them and heating them. I'm not lumpy yet. I don't know if that typically happens this quickly, but anyway, I'm so excited. I literally just got up and did a shot, so I need to go have some coffee and make some breakfast. You have to eat at least something because it give you, I think it's Valium when you go into do the transfer, so you can't have an empty stomach on that. We're gonna get to getting some coffee, getting some breakfast, and getting ready to go. Okay, the sun is aggressive. Oh, this is not gonna work. Okay, the sun situation is not getting any better at all, and we're about to be at the doctor's, which is so exciting. I'm having some coffee. You have to have like a kind of full bladder, but I never get it right. I either have it way too full or not full enough, and then I have to pee like halfway or keep drinking. I don't know, it's a little bit annoying having to like figure out how full your bladder is, because you can't obviously see or tell how many ounces of liquid are in your bladder, but they tell you to do 10 ounces, and I don't know what that means because I'm drinking 10 ounces now, but I also drank before this. So anyway, we're about to get this done. I'm wearing my Sydney Cummings hoodie and Ken's wearing his Royal Change hoodie. We're just kind of matching. I don't know, you feel like everything's like for good luck, so I'm like, you know, wearing the earrings I wore on our wedding day and my Lululemons and my Sydney Cummings and, you know, all the positive vibes we can get. It's also kind of weird because this is our first appointment that's not between like 6:30 and like 7:30 in the morning. Like, we're always here at the butt crack of dawn. So the fact that it's like after 10 o'clock, it's packed in here. We're used to getting like front row parking because it's barely open when we get here at 6:30, and now there's like a ton of people, and we're not usually here when there's literally any other humans here. So it's a little different, but it's nice that we didn't have to like rush out of the house like first thing in the morning. But it's like the first time we've done this. But anyway, so Ken has got all of his work stuff. He's gonna just kind of work and chill because I have to go in there for like an hour in advance, and then the procedure takes about half an hour. So he'll be just doing some work and reading and hanging out, and then we're gonna go get some lunch afterwards. I think we're gonna like get a lot of lunch. There's just a million things I'm in the mood for. And okay, maybe you should just that looks tight. So we're gonna definitely do a lot of munching after this because you gotta celebrate. Also, I think you could tell I'm like double masking it because I feel like that's just the wise thing to do. I still want to be cute but protected, you know? How are you feeling?
Fine.
He doesn't have any emotions related to this right now.
I'm muted right now.
Okay. We get this like secret waiting room, and then we have to call and let the operating room people know that we're here. But it's a cute
Hi, Shannon Anderson is here
area
in the waiting room. Alright, thank you.
Great job, honey.
That's what I do.
It's what you do. You gonna get comfy in here for a while? Completely unrelated, but put your foot flat. Like flat on the ground, yeah. Ken's got new kicks, literally first day.
New boot goofing.
Yeah, new boot goofing. They look so good. Alright, I took my Valium, getting changed into my fancy socks, my hairnet, my little gown, my blanket. I'm about to get stylish. Alright, I'm all scrubbed up, looking real cute. With the hairnet, the glasses, the masks. Got my little outfit and my little socks. And let's do this. Alright, I'm getting all cozy in my little bed. That's the envelope that they're gonna put the picture of the embryo in, which I'm super excited about. But y'all, I am feeling this Valium. I don't remember feeling it like this before, but I feel very like kind of out of it, kind of weird. I did not remember it hitting me like this before. They gave me 2. I don't know if they normally give you 2. I don't remember that, if they give me 1 or 2. But yeah, I'm feeling a little funny. All right, we are all done. It went so good. They said my bladder looked perfect, so at least got that right. He said my uterus looked perfect. He said the placement went perfect. He said like it literally went perfect. It was beautiful. He said everything was amazing. The embryo looks great. I have pictures. I gotta show y'all and Ken, but it went really well. I'm so excited. We are out on the road. I'm free. It's so cute. I got a video on my phone. Maybe I'll insert it here, but they always wheelchair you out after that. I don't know if it's because I was on like the Valium or if it's just because, I don't know, if they don't want you like doing any like crazy strenuous movements such as walking, but they wheelchair you out and then Ken like pulls the car up. So it was really sweet that they always like wheelchair me out. I feel like a princess just being like carried through the hospital. So that was really nice. And now we're gonna go first stop, get some McDonald's fries, because apparently in the IVF world, you just have to eat McDonald's fries after a transfer. It's just a thing. So I don't know if it's like a superstition or whatever, but I'm always down for fries, as y'all know, of any kind. So I'm not gonna really argue it. I'm just gonna do it. Here's the baby.
Wow.
So he said these cells are the baby, this is the placenta, and this is it hatching.
That's a solid hatch.
It's a pretty good hatch. When he showed it to me, I was like, that's hatching. He's like, how do you know that?
Hey.
Like, this is not my first rodeo. But he said it's a really, really, really obviously good looking
Of course it is.
embryo. He loves it.
Good.
He was like, I don't love the other one. I was like, neither do I. And then these are the pictures of it in me. So there it is.
Wow, that's a good one.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, you can even see it. That's so funny.
And it was pretty cool to watch because they put, he, you know, got me all set up. There's literally like 8 people in that room. It's so funny. But everyone is just so cute and so encouraging. They're like, oh my gosh. And then when the ultrasound lady gave me those pictures, she's like, I'm so excited for you. Good luck. And she's like literally doing this as if I'm like the first person that's ever done this. They just make you feel like, and then when he puts the catheter in just to like do like a test and basically see, because you can see it like that little, I don't know if you noticed that kind of like white line.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you again. It looks like just like a little white snake. That's the catheter. So he put in the catheter just to like test it out, just to see how it was gonna kind of snake in.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing as last time where they had to do like instead of just having the catheter loaded, they put like a tunnel catheter and then the catheter through that. So they basically had to use like a bigger catheter to kind of like position it perfectly, and then they snuck the catheter that had the actual embryo in it through that, so that it went in like this perfect kind of like pathway, like a pipe. So they did that last time too. They don't always do that, but he like tested it out. He's like, okay, so I'm gonna do it this way, and I was like, yeah, that's how they did it last time. So I think it's because my uterus, I think he's told me, is a little bit shifted like left or right, or
Classic.
I'm not really sure. But as soon as I got in there and they put the ultrasound on me, they're like, your bladder's beautiful. They all said the same thing. They're like, your bladder is perfect. I was like, wow. And then the doctor walks in, he's like, wow, your uterus is looking beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are literally the best. Yeah, I was just like so excited that everyone was so excited that I like filled my bladder correctly and like the lining and everything was looking good. So I was really excited about that. And then as soon as he like put the like, you know, piping in and then put it in there, it's the same thing as last time. They kind of have air bubbles around the,
Seriously.
yeah, these houses are really cute. They kind of have like air bubbles around the embryo, so you can like, it almost like glitters when it goes in. That's basically what you saw in those pictures. It's just like the bubbles. And as soon as it went in, everyone started like cheering. Everyone was like literally breaking out in cheer, and they were like, oh my gosh, it's perfect, it's beautiful, how, wow. Like everyone was just like, it literally erupted in cheer.
It's kind of funny.
It's so funny.
How
they do this every day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You'd think after a while they would be like, okay, done, next.
Or they'd be like all business, be like, okay, like whatever, but they're all just like so excited when it goes. And I don't know if it's like a little bit of an act or if it's just being encouraging, but I don't care. It makes me feel so good, and I love that they do that. And then right afterwards, doctors immediately like, that went perfect. Like it literally, that was exactly how it was supposed to go. It went in the perfect spot. The embryo, because then the embryologist leaves and checks that the catheter is actually fully empty, which it was. So she comes back in, she's like, it's all clear. And then she like comes over to me and she's like, good luck. And everyone's just so excited. Said it went like, it was perfect. What? He said it was beautiful. So I'm excited.
All right.
All right, if you know, you know. After transfer, you have to have McDonald's fries. It's just required. Don't ask me why. I don't make the rules. All right, I'm gonna have to show y'all better at home, but you can kind of see there we just got sushi. That's stop number 2. All right, we got the McDonald's fries because we had to. We got sushi, which we're gonna have when we get home. And then we got our favorite fried chicken sandwich. I've never tried this. I didn't do it on Instagram yet, so can you please wait? And then this is a like goat cheese melt, which I'm super excited about. And then I had the other loaded fries here, but this is like a different version. So I'm excited it has fried chicken on it. Here's the rest of the spread, sushi, soup. We were actually gonna go one other place, but then we decided maybe let's not go. So ham, oh, we're so excited for sushi. All right, we just munched on that sushi. It was so good, but it's also a good meal day. We have stuff from Kohl's, Target, Amazon, Ulta, and this is ColourPop. Little update, I'm still like feeling so out of it. Like, I'm exhausted, I'm so tired, and I don't know if it's because I kind of slept weird. Like, even though I woke up for a couple hours, I went back to sleep for a couple hours, like almost the same amount of time that I was awake, I went back to sleep for. So even though it was a little disjointed, I feel like I still slept the normal amount. So it could just be the Valium, or I don't know. Today is just kind of an emotionally, like, I don't know, it's kind of sensory overload. There's a lot going on today between, like, I mean, you're in like an operating room when you do the transfer, and they give you that Valium and all that. So I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely a little crampy, which is normal because they have like multiple catheters up there and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just feeling really out of it. It was not like this last time. Like last time when I did my fresh transfer, I didn't feel any different than like my normal life. So yeah, I don't know what is going on. I've just been laying here on the couch for like probably like 2 or 3 hours. I've not gotten up, but I need to like make dinner and stuff. So I'm probably just gonna like end this clip here because there's not gonna be much else to show from today. I feel like we kind of captured the essence of the transfer day and everything that kind of went along with it. It was pretty much the exact same in terms of the procedure as my fresh transfer. Like, there really wasn't anything different in terms of like showing up there and being brought into the operating room and the prep and all of that. So the procedure is basically the same. I guess the only difference technically is that they have to thaw the embryo. They actually give you this like emergency phone number to call if for any reason like last second you can't make it. The embryologists, I guess, check this phone number like first thing in the morning because they have to start thawing the embryo I think 3 hours before your scheduled transfer. So just in case something happens in the night and you can't go, you have to call this like emergency number and tell them like, don't thaw the embryo, like we can't make it, whatever. So obviously we wouldn't have to do that, but I didn't realize there was like this emergency because obviously with the fresh transfer there's no concern of that sort. So I guess that was the only thing that was a little different. They have to thaw the embryo and all of that, but everything else was the same. I was really happy. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was really happy my actual doctor did my transfer, which he did not do my retrieval or my transfer, my fresh transfer, because it was around Christmas time and I think he was like off, and they have obviously certain doctors that do certain times and things like that. So I was really, and I didn't know till I showed up that he was going to be doing it. So I was really, really excited, and I just have a lot of faith in that guy, and I really just like him. So I was very much at ease knowing that he was doing it, and I really trust him. So, oh, let me show you all the pictures really quick before I end this. So just for fun, I have both of them here. This was our fresh transfer that we did back in December. So that's the embryo, and apparently I just learned today, this is like the baby, and then this is the placenta, and right here is where it's hatching, and then this is it like in my uterus, and this is today's. So they look, I'll put them next to each other, but again, this is like the baby, this is the embryo, that's the hatching, and you can see it right there. So let me put these side by side. I feel like the embryos look similar but also kind of a lot different. Like this one has kind of like less dark areas and more kind of like this texture around the edge, where this one is a little smoother. And then also, like, I don't know, this picture, I feel like the embryo is like this long line, and here it's just like this tiny little blip. I don't know if that's like more zoomed in. Maybe this is my bladder, by the way. I mean, I guess they look like they're pretty similar in terms of the bladder. So, and obviously different techs are doing this, so I don't know if they're taking like different pictures and stuff like that. But yeah, these are the embryos, but this is obviously the one from today. So now we have 9 days to wait until my blood test. The good thing is this time is that I don't have any HCG shots, which I had last time. So that can give you kind of like mock pregnancy symptoms, because that's the pregnancy hormone. And if you try to take a pregnancy test, it could give you a false positive. So you can't really take a pregnancy test. With this, the doctor did say that I can take pregnancy tests if I want to. And we are able to get the test in like a week and 2 days, rather than having to wait like 14 or 15 days or something. So it's a much shorter wait period, which I'm very thankful for. And I don't have to worry about the HCG like kind of tricking me into like thinking I'm pregnant, because you get like the sore boobs and the tiredness and all that stuff. So that's just like a non-issue, and you don't have to take those shots, even though we do still have to continue the progesterone shots like normal every morning. I still have to take my estrogen pills and my patches. So none of my like medication changes at all. which is kind of nice. It's really consistent, but we get results a lot sooner. So it's very exciting. So I guess we'll have an update then, hopefully a good one.